Let's see how they look. Should be up. So, all right, go ahead and read, brother. Next article. Next part. Sorry about that, Facebook. We had a little technical difficulty. Be straight. Should be. It's wild. Okay. Rutherford. Just run it together. Rutherford.
Rutherford County.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of kids in almost half of the cases.
Speak a little louder.
Rutherford County, lots of kids in almost half of cases.
Mm-hmm.
Tennessee used to publish statistical reports on juvenile courts.
Read that part again. Tennessee used to what?
Tennessee used to publish statistical reports on juvenile courts statewide.
Mm-hmm. So Tennessee used to put their reports out there statewide for the public. Go ahead.
For the last year available, 2014, we compiled reports of all 98 courts. Rutherford County locked up kids in 48% of its cases, eclipsing every other jurisdiction.
So meaning that since 2014, they've been showing public. You can see publicly their records, and they've been locking young brothers and sisters, children, up to 48% to back up the chart that we looked at. Go ahead.
The state stopped publishing this data, even as it figured out prominently.
The state did what?
The state stopped publishing this data.
The state did what?
The state stopped publishing this data.
The state stopped publishing this data. Now this data is not public record. You can't see this data anymore, or how many children they're locking up and the rate that they're doing it, and what specific demographic they are. Go ahead.
The state stopped publishing this data, even as it figured out prominently in a lawsuit against Rutherford County.
And then go to the next one. So what we're seeing is basically Murfreesboro don't turn in their receipts. They don't do that no more. So you don't know who they're locking up, why they're locking it up at all. Go ahead.
Having these arrests take place at Hobgood was not something school officials wanted. They wanted kids to feel safe at school. Garrett grew up poor. 9/10 of her students were poor. Years before, Hobgood had struggled academically.
Now, the reason why I wanted to point this out is because this is Principal Garrett. This is Principal Garrett that's over Hobgood that let these kids get locked up. This is a white woman, and she claimed that she grew up poor and she felt for the children and their parents. Keep reading.
Now it was a celebrated success. Garrett and her staff had worked to build trust with parents.
So now they celebrated the work that they've done for this school because they brought the school up. They helped this school. They made it strong, helped the so-called poor Black and Hispanics, and helped them to get good grades, and now they're great students. They'll do anything for them. This is Garrett's words, the principal of the school. Go ahead.
To build trust with parents, with students. I don't give up on kids, Garrett says.
She says she don't give up on kids. This is the principal. You don't give up on the children, but you let grown men come in and put them in handcuffs. One child got handcuffed. She was 8 years old, and she threw up. One child had diabetes. Officer Carroll said, let her go get a shot by the nurse and then bring her back over here. And put her in handcuffs and put her in that squad car. Principal Garrett didn't do a damn thing. Keep going.
But she knew that trust is fragile and trauma endures.
Trust is fragile and trauma endures. She don't know how right she is. Keep going.
As Garrett gathered the girls from their classrooms, she believed the police would at least avoid a spectacle.
Now, here's the thing about Garrett that I'm not letting get away about Principal Garrett. Garrett ain't give a damn about these kids.
Right.
She ain't care nothing about the connection between them and the parents and trust and all this mess. Listen to what is said right here. I get you 1 second. I see you want to say something. Go back just a little bit, brother, and read again. Maybe 2 sentences.
As Garrett gathered the girls from their class.
As Garrett gathered the girls from their classes to be locked up. Go ahead.
She believes the police would at least avoid a spectacle.
She would think that the police would at least avoid a spectacle, meaning that at least you'll put the handcuffs on them after school is over and everybody has went on the buses and left the school. Why would you say that instead of saying, like, why would you say that instead of saying, why would y'all do this at all? I'm not doing this. I'll get locked up. Lock me up then. You gotta get somebody else to get these kids. At least you leave. At least somebody will see you as having some kind of dignity. Like the parents of those children would see you like, dang, she was willing to get locked up instead of letting our children get locked up. You look like what you talking about previously. But she said, because see, you gotta understand, this is about 2:30 in the afternoon when the children is being let out of school. And when these children are being let out, she's worried about what is everybody gonna think when they see this? How's this make us look? Go ahead, brother. You had something.
I watched a couple of videos on that very subject where the principal denied the police from going in and issuing warrants on school grounds because it's against school policies. You know what I'm saying? For the police to come in. You know what I'm saying? And there, it seems like the school's in cahoots with the police too.
I'm gonna tell you like this, man. In a situation like this, Officer Carroll was aggressive as hell. At one part, I give Garrett this. She's saying, she's questioning it. You know what I'm saying? She's questioning like, why? You know how white women, why? I don't understand. And he's like, go get him. She's like, why should we do this? You're yelling at me. You're intimidating me. He grabs the handcuffs and does like this. Handcuffs. And does like this. What is he saying when he do this?
I'll lock you up.
Either you and them kids, what you want to do?
Oh, I'll get him.
And that's exactly what she did. Go ahead.
So like, it's not funny, but after that, like in that, I can only imagine in her mind. I don't know what comedian said it, but I can envision her saying, "F them kids." You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that was Lil Nas X. That was Lil Nas X said that. Yeah, she literally said that. Go ahead, brother. Let's keep going.
School was let out at 2:30. That was minutes away.
So there you go. Now we know in this school about to be let out. That's what she worried about. Go ahead.
Garrett's understanding was that the police would keep the girls in the office until school was dismissed.
See, her understanding was, so y'all just gonna wait till everybody leave, right, and then handcuff them, right? Like everybody ain't gonna see this, right? That's all she worried about. Yeah, you gonna act like, no, you shouldn't do this, but okay, at the end of the day, I know y'all gotta do this, but just don't do it in front of everybody. Make our school look bad. Make me look bad because all the work that I've done.
Right.
I need my check. Keep going.
Garrett's understanding was that the police would keep the girls in the office until school was dismissed, and everyone else was gone.
So there you go. Her understanding with the police was that. Go ahead.
At the top it says Ecclesiasticus 12, verse 10.
Somebody give me Ecclesiasticus 12 and 10, please. If you go to the next.
Miles handcuffed the 8-year-old.
Hold on 1 second. It's like about, I meant just like go there so you know what to read next. I'm going to get this scripture. And this scripture right here is going to let you know when you think people are there to help you and they're your friend. And, you know, our people are real quick to take heathens like they look out for us. They take care of us. All of them ain't bad. This woman was not looking out for the betterment of her children. You got it out? Okay, let's get it.
This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12, verse 10.
Never trust thy enemy. Never what? Never trust thy enemy. Never what? Never trust thy enemy. Was Officer Carroll her enemy? Was Judge Davenport her enemy? We about to find out. The mother of the county. If you got poisonous snakes and you got non-poisonous snakes in a barrel, and you drop your keys in that barrel, are you gonna stick your hand in there because it's non-poisonous snakes? Because you what? I know you're scared to get bit. I know you Judites. I mean, I don't like snakes either. But what's the main thing that's plaguing your mind?
It's lucky, sir. I don't know which one's poisonous, which one's not.
So you don't know who to trust. So it's best not to trust any of them. In a perfect world, in our rulership, we don't have to worry about heathens teaching our children. We don't have to worry about nobody running up, priests running up in school, snatching our kids up. Let me tell you something, man. Even if it's a heathen school, you won't see in the day that blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians rule, you will not see us running up in their schools, handcuffing children. That's evil, bro. That's like on a whole nother level. We can't even think like that. The way we think, and when I say we, I'm talking about blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. The way we think is once we've been harmed, we counter by harming you back. We don't think of no long process way to not just hit you, but to hit your children and hit them before they even born. Like abortion rules is changing to where they can snip the head off as soon as the baby come out the body. We don't think like that.
Full term.
Full term. This is your enemy. Stop from the top. Read again, brother.
Come on. Verse 10.
Mm-hmm.
Never trust thy enemy.
Call the whole thing out, Baba Kashaw.
Come on. This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12, verse 10. Never trust thy enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness.
Just like iron rusteth, like eventually, if you let rust just hang on iron, it'll just totally deteriorate it away. That's what your enemy would do to you slowly. You think that Principal Garrett had our back, had our children's back. No, she was part of their plight. She did what was expected. I expected nothing else than Principal Garrett to run up in that school and get every child that they're asking for. That's what I expect her to do. Because I understand Ecclesiastes 12 and 10. Our brothers and sisters in the world need to understand that also. Let's keep going. That's it for my brother.
Come on.
To what?
Miles handcuffed the 8-year-old with pigtails.
So this is the 8-year-old that's being handcuffed by Miles. That's a black officer. Remember, Carol is the white officer that's aggressive. Keep going.
Just acting out of habit, he said later.
Listen to that. Just acting out of habit. Just acting out of habit. What habit do you have to lock up, to put handcuffs on an 8-year-old? When he says that, what's that mean?
So like, did you say acting out of habit?
Acting out of habit.
Okay, so he's already done it before.
Thank you. Give him a hand. That's what I need. That means he's used to doing this. That's why he was in there, and it was like they said, it was one officer said that, yeah, let's get him. One officer was like, we shouldn't do this. The other officer was like, I don't know what to do. Because the officer, which is Miles, that said we shouldn't do this, is tired of doing it. He's being forced to do it. General Hazayon always talks about brothers this because he used to be a police officer. He always talks about brothers, if you're in that police force, you need to get out of there. See, it ain't just about shooting your brother. It's not about just doing things to your brother that you don't think you would let you feel guilty about because you know it's wrong. Now we putting handcuffs on 8-year-old children with pigtails. I don't even know if the handcuffs, I didn't even know they twist that far back. You know what I mean? Because they built for men. But it wouldn't surprise me if they made special features to where they can interlock all the way around. You know what I'm talking about? They can interlock all the way around to cuff a child. Go ahead, bro.
I don't understand how they go home, and especially them the black men who got children. How you go home and look at your children and think about, what you just done at work, to somebody else's child who look just like your child.
Let me tell you something. In that article, Miles, that same dude, they arrive at the Juvenile Justice Center, and as he gets out, the father of one of their daughters is right there. He's like, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? He said, man, I'm just doing my job. He's like, man, you can't do this. Then now you gotta understand, like, these are depositions. This is like if I took you in a room and said, okay, now what was your part in this? What happened? So I'm writing down everything that you're saying. I'm quoting you. So then he said in his mind, he was like, I got a daughter too. He said, man, it took me everything not to cry right then. I had to hold my tears until I got into the car. And before I got to the police precinct, I cried in the car because I have a child too. And I know what he was feeling. But I had to do my job. But that goes, no, you too wild. You good because, and excuse my language, I might get checked for this. But this is a quote. I can't get checked. Salaki out of Wapian. This is a quote. The quote from that brother that had confronted that police officer to get his daughter, after he was pleading with the man was like, man, I gotta do my job, man. I know what you feel. I know how you feel. I know where you're coming from. He said, fuck you, man. Fuck you. This was his quote. Okay. That was an angry father that was seeing his daughter in handcuffs. That's why I say what we're talking about tonight, if you're not doing Ecclesiastes 7:7 right now, something wrong with you. Something wrong with you. If you don't, anybody watching, if you don't understand Ecclesiastes 7:7, if you don't understand what that is, somebody turn to it real quick. Let's get that real fast. That's the reason why that brother was mad that he had to see his daughter in handcuffs, 7-8-year-old. Did you have something, Parag?
I was just saying that's how wicked this kingdom is, where the oppression is so strong that we would join our oppressors, but even do something that you know is wicked just for a check.
Exactly. And look, it's the check and the ridicule you'll get if you get back to the blue shield, to your brothers, because you ain't carry out the order, which was wicked as hell. Anybody got it? Ecclesiastes, let's get it, man.
Ecclesiastes 7:7.
Mm-hmm.
Surely oppression make a wise man mad.
Look, that's oppression right there. That's why the father was mad. Now, here's the thing. When a judge says, you need this because I was sent from God. No, because I'm doing God's work. Keep reading. Keep reading that.
And a gift destroys the heart.
She acting like it's a gift to you. She acting like this is for the people. But what people is she talking about? I'm going to play y'all a video. This is a commercial, man. It's a literal commercial for a Justice Juvenile Center. I'm going to ask you right now, who was that commercial for?
White liberals.
Come on, talk to me. Talk to me.
Juvenile justice center.
For well, you're not talking about that.
No, I'm trying to get us.
Okay, what I'm saying is I have a video I'm gonna play, and it's a commercial by Judge Davenport, Murfreesboro, Tennessee, the center we talking about. They're gonna play it. It's a commercial. For who?
It's to her constituency. It's to
who?
The same people who think like her.
What do you mean though?
It's for the devils that's her. That's her. It's her partners, her friends, constituents.
Why? Okay, why?
Because she letting them know that she's tough on crime.
I was gonna say, like, I want to see her continue, like the other counties. Like, you see us doing it, y'all can do the same thing.
Y'all close. Y'all the closest.
To let white supremacy know that she's doing what she's put in office.
You there. Yeah. It ain't no, y'all. Look, y'all are like on the 5-yard line. It's like the goal's right there. Cause like y'all are too UPK. Y'all too UPK. Like y'all are thinking.
That's a bad thing.
No, it's not. That's what I'm saying. I didn't say you're wrong. That's why I didn't say you were wrong. But it's the answer that I asked you at the beginning. But we're gonna keep going. When I play, y'all gonna be like, oh, what? I'm like, yeah. Go ahead.
Walk into a patrol car, mouth stop.
Hold your head up, they can't hear you. Kind of hold it like this if you can. If you can't, understand.
Walk into a patrol car, Miles stopped and
Mhm.
thought, wait a minute, and removed the cuffs.
Now this is Miles. He cuffed her at first, and as he's walking this 8-year-old to the car, he realized what he's doing. Like, this is wrong, man. He takes the handcuffs off. Keep reading. Watch this stuff. This reminded me one time we was downtown. Go ahead.
I guess my brain finally caught up with what I guess my brain finally caught up with what was going on.
Mm-hmm. Is there more after that? I think it comes after this.
Garrett was still crying.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't want to go out of the line of buses and let all those kids see her like that.
That's what the principal. Now she crying because she worried about all the other children seeing these children as she claims. Go ahead.
But she went feeling she had a little choice.
So she thought she had no choice in doing this. Keep going.
A teacher beckoned EJ off the bus. Then Garrett escorted her inside.
So now let me tell you what's happening. The reason why Garrett went to the bus is because Officer Carroll said, hey, go get him. I don't care. It was one more child on this list. Where's she at? Garrett said, I think she's on the bus. Why would you even say that? That's why she went out there crying. Because she knows that this girl could have almost got away, but she had to sit there and snitch on that girl to fulfill her duty. So now she got a teacher to get on the bus, get the final child, and the child's now walking off this bus. Let's go.
Scared and confused, begged for her mother and threw up on the floor.
This is the child that came into the office. She's scared, she's confused, and as soon as Officer Carroll pulls out them handcuffs, that little girl throws up, man. How would you feel if some white man come to you with handcuffs, you a child, don't know nothing about this, but you know what handcuffs mean? You don't know what to think. So the first thing she gonna do is throw up. Grown men do that when they know they finna go to jail for a long time or for life. Go ahead.
The two fourth graders still at Hobgood.
Mm-hmm.
EJ and CC were best friends. William and Miles walked to the girls outside, not handcuffing either. With some parents joining in, the officers formed a prayer circle.
They formed a what?
A prayer circle.
They formed a what?
A prayer circle.
They formed a what?
A prayer circle.
Now you feel me. That's why I said that. When we was downtown at camp one time in Nashville, man, these so-called Christians and preachers and whatever ministers, they did a prayer circle and was talking and it sounded like they was bidding for cars or something. They act like, and they was praying for us that we would wake up. You know what happened a couple of weeks later? A bomb was set off. You know what was untouched when that bomb was set off by that man downtown? The very spot where we spoke. It was unscathed. I went down there myself and taped it. The trees was fine. The sidewalk wasn't scorched. It wasn't no windows busted, no boarding up. It was all right. So wherever the priest had their feet, the Lord was there with him. And nothing was touched. But everything else was taken out. So that prayer circle ain't do nothing. Now we talking about, go ahead.
So like, and if I could, and that just goes back to what we always talking about, how, your oppressor, I always use an example at camp that, the people who came and picked our ancestors up from the west coast of Africa had on Christian crosses.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? The same people who had us, our ancestors in slavery, had on Christian crosses. They was all Christians. Mm-hmm. They got in prayer circles and things of that nature also. At the same time, they was oppressing our people. Mm-hmm. And these are the same people doing the same thing that they've been doing for hundreds of years. It ain't changed whatsoever.
He make a good point because what do you think Carol, Miles, and the other officer and Principal Garrett are?
Christians.
Christians.
Yep.
the Christian church teaches you that you can kill, murder, rob, and then have a prayer circle for the blessings of the Lord. Because see, let's see what happens after this prayer circle. Because if you had a prayer circle, why don't you let them go?
What they praying about?
What are you praying about? Their freedom? You're the one that's got their freedom in your hand. What you got out?
Who are they praying to?
Exactly. They're God. They're praying to Patrick Swayze in the toga. He's like, great job. You know what I'm saying? Now let's see what happens after this prayer circle. Go ahead. You 12 see? Okay, go ahead. No sweat.
Mouse prayed out loud for the kids to be protected.
Now this the black officer praying out loud in the prayer circle. We always do that. It's always us. Go ahead.
Prayed out loud for the kids to be protected.
And for their protection. You are their protection. Go ahead. Good night.
And for God to bring peace and understanding.
Then
he buckled the fourth graders.
Then he what?
Then he buckled the fourth graders.
Then he what?
Then he buckled the fourth graders into a patrol car and
wow.
drove off.
Then he buckled the fourth graders in the patrol car. What was the point of the prayer, man? Where's the protection? Where's the Lord at? You supposed to be his soldiers. You the guardians, or you protect and serve the people. You couldn't just say, I'm not doing this, man. I'll lose my job. I'm not doing this. I would have respected him if he did his prayer circle and then did that. Go ahead.
The whole thing is the police ain't for us.
Exactly.
Like, their whole protect and serve is protect and serve them, not us.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy because it's like it's always been like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like and I don't know the scripture, but when it talks about it, there ain't nothing new under the sun.
Come.
You know what I'm saying? It was like this back in the time when Christ was around, like
and the Romans was
right. That was their so-called police force, and they were protecting and serving the Romans, not the Israelites. Man, the only way that we're gonna be protected and served is, man, by the men of the Lord of the, you know, and the commander General YAHANNA and I.S.U.P.K.
Exactly. Damn right, sis. Well said. That's right. Now, what I'm gonna tell you something too. Why the Lord wasn't there, because He don't hear their prayers.
Right.
Only thing He looking at is them children. That's why the Lord, what those children went through, Lord willing, those children grow up and realize that there's no help in this land but the I.S.U.P.K.
Right.
And that's our job. We got to get out to Murfreesboro. That's got to be one of our jobs, to get out there and help them people out there. Because as you see, they need us. What you got out?
When did this happen?
This happened in 2016. 2016, 2014.
2016.
2016? 2016. It started getting investigated in 2014. All right. So, and that's another good point, because this stuff happened a long time ago, and it's just now being resurfaced in 2021. This one city. Think about all the cities in America that ain't heard of nothing. And this situation is worse than this. Rape, molestation, all kinds of things. All right, let's keep going. That's still in the yellow? Yeah, go ahead.
Then he buckled the fourth graders into a patrol car and drove off. On the way to jail, the girls cried. It's not at all, EJ would say later. Garrett, meanwhile, pulled out her personal cell phone and began calling parents, no longer willing to do as the police commanded.
Now, let me help you understand something. Go ahead and get to the next one. That deposition, remember, deposition is when they're being questioned by the internal affairs or whatnot. That's coming from EJ. That's one of the 8-year-olds, the 10-year-old.
Right.
Okay, that's her perspective. That's why I said snot and all. She's like, man, we was balling, we was scared. And then all of a sudden, Garrett feels bad now. Now she's like, that ain't right. Yeah, of course you're gonna say that when the police are going.
Right.
Where was that spirit when they were there? If you really care about blacks and Hispanics, which make up 90% of your school. Go ahead.
The mother of the county. 11
Say that. Hold up. Say that again.
The mother of the county.
This is the nickname of Judge Davenport in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Mother of the county. The reason why they say that is because she considers every child that comes in her courtroom to be her kids. These are her sons, her daughters. She says, my 10-year-olds, my 8-year-olds do this. They do that. Because she has her own radio show in Murfreesboro with her dumb ass.
Right.
Salaki failed the bar 5 times.
Right.
Yeah, you a judge, and she failed the bar 5 times. She lied so much. She's supposed to have been part of the FBI, part of the police force in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. End up being a secretary, basically a HR rep. She never did those things. This lady did no telling what to get where she is, and is dumb as a rock. Dumb as one of these pictures on this wall. These pictures have more respect than her. These pictures speak more respect and more honor than Judge Davenport. Go ahead.
That's another thing too. You can tell they dumb because they don't know anything. They call us dumb with the way we talk, the way we carry ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to like profession, we more professional than they are.
God, that's true. And what happens is they just get a whole bunch of excuses.
Huh.
Even the people that work under her, I think her name is what was her name? Officer Templeton. This woman was in a car wreck, a 3-car car wreck. Wiped out an SUV and another car and another car. And then I think she had other charges on her before. She has a criminal record. And she's the one that tried to help find the law, to make up a law to go get these children. These are the people that we are under oppression from. These are the people that are making laws that have nothing to do with us. These are the people that are accusing us of things that we haven't done. We're against the people that, man, look, without the Most High in Christ, we can't win against them.
Right.
Not with what they got set up. Go ahead.
11 children in all were arrested over the video, including the 8-year-old taken by mistake. Media picked up the story. Parents and community leaders condemned the actions of the police. Unimaginable.
Let me tell y'all something. I think it's just work your way through it. Ask the officer behind you. He'll help you with that word. Let me tell you something, man. What we about to read is, look, it was 11 children involved being locked up, having a charge, a warrant sent out for them by Judge Davenport and their system. Watch who comes out the woodwork from nowhere, but you don't see them anywhere. In the I.S.U.P.K, this story just got picked up Saturday. Black Watch with it's a form of Black Watch. I don't know what you actually call it, but with Junior Haas usually runs it with all the captains. This is when this story first got broke in the I.S.U.P.K. We the ones finna blast this now. Now, us being in Nashville, Tennessee, we gonna push this out there now. Other than that, look, I've researched this myself. There's only a couple of news people that even said anything, and these videos at the most is 12 minutes, 7 minutes, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. It's not even no real coverage on it. It's more coverage from people out of this state than it is people that live here. Now listen who pops up.
Unfathomable, a Nashville pastor said.
The who?
A Nashville pastor said.
The who?
A Nashville pastor said.
Does it have a name? La? No name of the pastor. Wonder why. Keep going. What did it say, officer?
Unconscionable.
Unconscionable.
Mm-hmm.
Inexcusable.
There you go.
Insane. The 3 state legislatures said.
So now what we looking at is that it for that yellow? Okay, go keep going. Select.
But Rutherford County Juvenile Court judge focused instead of the state youth and the crisis with our children in Rutherford County. I've never seen it this bad.
So now what we got preachers and pastors saying is that this is unexcusable. They can't understand all these adjectives he's using this to explain how bad it is and how it's unbelievable that this happened. Go ahead.
It says Ezekiel 13, verse 4 and 5.
Okay, somebody give me Ezekiel 13, 4 and 5. And you go to the next yellow. Now you don't read yet. Let me get the scripture first.
Was that 4 verse 5?
Yeah. Call it out again, brother.
Ezekiel 13, verse 4 and 5.
Somebody get that for me. Whoever get it, just go ahead and read it.
Okay.
Go ahead.
This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 13, verse 4. O Israel, thy prophets are like foxes in a desert, the desert.
What does that mean? Sis?
Oh, so you don't see the foxes
Why not?
because they're in their dens. They're like,
They're nocturnal. So they only come out at night. So you really don't see a fox, do you? How many preachers and pastors you see out here? How many marches did you see them do for these children? Where are Sharpton at? Where Bishop Walker at? He's probably that pastor right there. Where T.D. Jace? You don't see him like you don't see a fox. It's rare that you see a fox. Keep reading. Not you, us, like the brother in the back.
Come. Verse 5.
Mm-hmm.
Ye have not gone up into the gaps, neither made up the hedges for the house
Hold
of
right
Israel.
there. Hold right there. What's it mean not to go up into the gaps? Somebody break that down for me.
Like going in the voided places, like in the hoods and in the alleyways where danger might be.
More. I need more.
it would be like in the unwanted places, like places where people don't want to go.
Not necessarily unwanted.
Well, like things that get like dropped off.
They don't cover the whole bases. They won't go into the gaps. They'll go into places where it's like you might get some publicity at. But if you don't get no publicity, they won't go there.
Anybody else got an explanation for what the gaps are? Go ahead.
I was gonna say, like they only come out when they get a check. Basically, like TDJ.
Let me ask y'all this. In sports, what is a gap? In sports.
Open space.
It's an open space, right?
Come.
So if it's an open space, what do you have to do to that gap?
Yeah, close.
How do you close it?
Put something there.
And what you put there does what?
You close the gap.
It defends it,
Come.
right?
Come.
So that gap is where you're weak at. Okay, I'm gonna help you understand. What happened with the Amalekites when we was coming out of Egypt? What did the Amalekites do? Like, what was the reason why? Who was that? I think it was King Saul. Why was he told to annihilate all them? What happened previously before that?
The Amalekites did not go to the front with the men on. They went around the back.
Why?
Because the man of the Lord was in the front.
So then, what was in the back?
The weak, the women and the children, and the elderly,
Which is a what?
which is the gap.
It's a gap. Read the scripture again.
Come. Verse 5.
Mm-hmm.
Ye have not gone up into the gaps, neither made up the hedge of the house of Israel.
Oh, right there. So now we know a gap is where we're weak at. It needs to be defended. Just like it said a hedge. What does a hedge do?
It protects.
It protects. If you don't want to put up a fence, you don't want nobody in your yard, you put up a hedge to protect your yard. Just like a gap, just like a hedge, your pastor and your preacher will not be anywhere to defend you. What they'll do is make a quote like that. But they'll do nothing else.
Or do a prayer circle.
Or do a what?
A prayer circle.
A prayer circle.
Prayer circle, yeah.
They're good at those. They're good at marches.
To get you to put some more money in the connection plate.
That's it. They'll have 3 services in one day, but they won't go down and see what's going on with these children. Is that it for that?
Look more.
Let's get it.
To stand and battle in the day of the Lord. That's me.
All right, let's keep reading.
Davenport describes her work as a calling. I am here on a mission. It is not a job. It's God's mission.
There you go, right there. That's a quote from Davenport. Read again.
It's not a job. It's God's mission.
It's not a job for her. She's doing the work of the Lord. Keep reading.
She told a local newspaper.
Mm-hmm.
The children in her courtroom aren't hers.
Whose?
Aren't hers.
Davenport. Any child that comes into Davenport's court is her child now. Go ahead.
But she calls them hers. I am seeing a lot of aggression in my 9 and 10-year-olds, she says on the radio.
I'm seeing a lot of aggression in my 9 and 10-year-olds. I can't have that. This is on her radio show.
She is missing.
Yeah.
That's what she is.
Yeah,
She's
to
missing.
the extreme.
She believes that the same way as the woman, the white woman at the plantation believed that all them kids out there was her. She is missing. She has that same white supremacist thought pattern.
That's exactly what she is.
And believe that she controls the lives of these children because they're hers.
Exactly. I mean, she's
owns them.
feeling exactly what she's being told to feel. You're above these people. They can't teach their own. They're crazy. They're animals. Their parents, she was quoted saying, their parents don't do parenting. So I have to be their mother of the county. That's why she said it.
It's like modern day slavery. Slavery ain't never ended.
That's all it is. That's a good point. Get it, brother hand. It's modern day slavery. Go ahead.
Zechariah chapter 11, verse 5.
Somebody give me Zechariah 11 and 5. Good job, young man. Going good. Let's get Zechariah 11 and 5. Yeah, get this one down. It's a nugget right here.
This is the book of Zechariah, chapter 11, verse 5.
Hold on 1 second. Just like the brother said earlier about manifest destiny and people that feel themselves entitled to do the work of the Lord, but they're doing something wicked. Yeah, highlight this, John, in your Bible. Write this down. Go ahead. Yeah, read.
This is the book of Zechariah, chapter 11, verse 5.
Mm-hmm.
Whose possessive slay them?
Hold on. Check on your Akim.
Oh, I about that. Verse 5.
Mm-hmm.
Whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty, and they that sell them say, blessed be the Lord.
Look at that. It's in the Bible, man. Read that again, all right?
Come. Verse 5. Whose possessors slay them?
Who possessors slay them. This is your oppressor, slaving our children in that system. Go ahead.
Who hold themselves not guilty.
They're not saying they doing nothing wrong. They saying what?
and they that sell them say, blessed be the Lord.
Sell them. They make money off these children being in these sales, $178 a night.
Right.
They selling them. I'm gonna go and give it to you. That's what this commercial is about. This commercial is to show any surrounding county how we get down. You got a problem with your children, bring them to us, but you gotta pay us $178 a night. We got this many facilities, we got this, we got that. Bring them here. Because see, they only keep them 2 to 10 days, but you ain't supposed to have them more than 24 hours. Some special cases, but 24 hours. But you're keeping them 2 to 10 days. So then think about how many they can keep rotating in and out of this Amazon for children. Go ahead.
Yeah, what I was going to bring up earlier, that how corrupt Murphy's World is, their probationary system.
Mm-hmm.
They have a private probation system. You know what I'm saying? That's not state. You know what I'm saying? Where they can double your charge, triple your charge if you violate, and jack up your probationary fees. Right. If you violate, they can raise your fees up. If they violate, they can take your license. If you violate, they'll double your sentence. It's worse than what's that? Community corrections. It's worse than community corrections.
And they just making these things up as they go.
Yeah, as they go. It's a private probationary system that the judges of Rutherford County are heads over.
Yeah, you know why they can't be moved?
Why is that, sir?
You can't. A judge in Rutherford County is a political official.
Right.
The only way you can get rid of them is you have to vote them out.
Right.
That's the only way.
And they got the good old boy network.
In Salakia, in Tennessee. That's the reason why you want to like, why is somebody firing them? Why they get? Because you can't. They got to be voted out. You got to realize she's just a tool being used. She's being told what to do. This ain't just being. This woman's stupid, man. She failed the bar 5 times.
Right.
She ain't coming up with this scheme on her own.
Yeah, mayor.
No, yeah, well, whoever, it's bigger than that.
Sure.
Like they showed her robe. Her robe is like this emerald green. Captain Mashak Mayam showed another robe of a KKK Grand Wizard. Same color. She is a tool for white supremacy, man. This is like principalities that are high that we fight. You know, like scripture say. Keep going, bro. That's it for that, right? Go ahead.
Come on. For I am rich, and their own shepherds pity them not.
Look at that. I'm making money off Black Hispanic children, and your preachers ain't even giving a damn. All they doing is making quotes, but they won't even say their name. They won't even have their name put out there. That scripture heavy, man. That's saying exactly what's happening right now. Go ahead, young man. That's what you want.
David Port in a sworn deposition.
Mm-hmm.
Said her law enforcement career began in 1977 at MTSU, where a student she worked full-time as a university police officer for 2 to 3 years.
Yes, she said she was a university police officer for 2 to 3 years. Go ahead.
But her MTSU personal file shows her being...
So somebody investigated her personal files and what she really used to do. She said she was a police officer for MTSU. Let's see what she really did. Go ahead.
But her MTSU personal files shows her being a part-time dispatcher, then a full-time clerk typist, then a full-time secretary.
So now she was a dispatcher, she was a secretary,
Clerk.
and a clerk. Where were you in law enforcement at? In MTSU? She been lying from the gate. Go ahead.
Oh, you know, dispatching is a part of the force.
Nah, man. Come on. Come on with that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I worked for the force.
Yeah, I bet you did.
Yeah, I worked.
Pushing papers. Go ahead.
Hey, she was a janitorial.
Go ahead.
She cleaned toilets.
Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
In 1980, Davenport started as a dispatcher for the Murfreesboro
Mm-hmm.
Police Department.
Mm-hmm.
Then she took another job, not in law enforcement, but in the law department for Nashville, investigating financial claims that might include anything from car accidents to slip and falls.
So now she was like a little claims adjuster. That's that's all she was. Keep reading.
At night,
That's all she was. A claim adjuster, bro. They got them insurance companies. Go ahead, keep reading.
at night, Davenport went to law school.
Now, she went to law school at night. We're looking at the background of Judge Davenport that came up with this scheme. Go ahead.
She graduated in 1986.
Uh,
That same year, she told lawyers in a deposition, I started with these fees. I started with the feds.
right. So she worked with the FBI. Go ahead.
She told radio listeners that for 8-year-olds, she was with the U.S. Justice Department, where I analyzed and tracked and helped identify serial killers.
So now, she said she used to identify serial killers for the FBI. Keep going. She's making a lot of claims here. Come on.
But this job wasn't with the Justice Department.
Uh-oh.
Her employer, Regional Information Sharing Systems, received federal funding, but isn't a federal agency.
So that was a lie too. She never worked for the FBI. They got federal funding for whatever agency she was working for. She lied again. Go ahead.
She then became a private investor, handling mostly divorces. She told lawyers.
So now, well, basically, she went after men that had divorces. She targeted that. She's going after men now. See, this woman wicked, bro. Go ahead, keep going.
In the deposition, Davenport said she first took the bar exam about a year finishing law school. She failed and kept trying.
There you go. That's her failing the bar exam. Go ahead.
How? How many times have you taken the bar? An attorney asked her.
So the attorney is asking, how many times have you taken this bar exam? Go ahead.
I passed on the 5th time.
I passed on the 5th time. 5 times she took this bar exam. And then everything before that, she was lying about the things she did. Go ahead.
So like, you know, if that was a black woman that failed that 5 times, she wouldn't even be working now.
No, man.
She probably wouldn't even get a second chance to take it.
That lets you know how bad they wanted her in there.
Yeah.
They wanted her in there bad. Or she did whatever she had to do. A lot of white women, the oppressor, will sleep their way to the top. It's no telling what she did. To get some power. She'll do anything for that power. Go ahead.
That's the same thing Kamala Harris did when Judge O'Brien spoke from her. She was sleeping her way to power.
Exactly. That's what they do. Another heathen. She slept her way to the top. I mean, does it surprise you? Go ahead.
They were following Davenport's process.
Mm-hmm.
Arrest, transport to the
Detaining? Detective?
detention.
Detention.
Detention center for screening. Then file charging papers. It is so ordered. Davenport wrote in the 2003 memo about her instructions.
Now, what that's saying is Judge Davenport, with her instructions were to carry out these orders to lock up these children. That's her order. The order is, remember this, criminal responsibility is the charge. The threat is what you use to snatch them up and handcuff. Once you got them handcuffed, they being charged with criminal responsibility. Once they get to the juvenile court center, they're being booked through the filter system. The filter system allows you to hold them 2 to 10 days, whatever the hell you want to do to them. Because at the end of the day, what they trying to do? Get money.
So the real reason for the filter, wait, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So they arrest them.
Mm-hmm.
They put them in the system. What's what happens during this whole filtering system? Like why is it there?
The filtering system is there to acquire children, have a reason to get them. Once we got them, we get money for holding them in here. And on top of that, you're destroying them. Now, this Judge Davenport has been put in place. The ones above her is we trying to destroy them. But on top of destroying them, we're making money. Davenport's whole point is we got to get bigger and larger and expand so we can get more children, more money. That's her drive, right? The ones above her is like, now we got a system set up to destroy them, to destroy Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Go ahead.
Is that so destroying them now creates in their child to be like a criminal, like a, I don't know what it's like a career criminal where they will continue to make offenses throughout the rest of their life?
Exactly, because what happens when I pull you over and you fell asleep in your car and you have a gun that I can see. So then when I wake you up and you do this and grab for the gun because you just scared, you just fell asleep in your car, I kill you, we go to court. Wow, look at his record since he was 8 years old. They got a way to give us a criminal record since we're babies. So now we got more reason to kill you. We can traumatize you more. This is like a think tank system. This ain't nothing somebody just came up with to make money. This is a systematic way to oppress you. A think tank is like people are hired to come together and think how to solve a problem. Think tanks are formed on how to get rid of Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians because they can't kill us. They've been trying to kill us since we've been over here. They can't do it. So they have to come up with more psychological ways. And this is just a tool. Okay. Why should I try to wait till you start gangbanging when I can get you when you're a baby? When I can convince your mother to kill you without even dealing with you? Why should I sit there and try to lock you up when you start selling dope when I can lock you up when you 8 years old? You got to remember, all this started from a YouTube video. 2 5 or 6 year olds was just fighting with a 10-year-old. The 5 or 6 year olds is throwing these little weak licks. You know, the 10-year-old ain't even studying. All the 11-year-old children that are being handcuffed by these police, being entered in this system, just seen it. They said the only reason why we didn't come after the ones that was fighting that was hitting the victim is because they was 5 and 6. If they had been 7 and 8, we would have got them. This is what we're dealing with. This is a psychological warfare, spiritual. I think he was first. Was you first? My bad. So go ahead.
I was going to ask, what was she locking these kids up anyway? First, what was she charging with?
The charge is criminal responsibility. The charge was witnessing a fight
without trying to stop it.
Criminal responsibility is not even a law. It's not even a charge. This officer named Officer Templeton and Officer Hamlet. Templeton was the one that sent the police to the school to get those children. She actually was supposed to be there. but she stayed at the Justice Center and just waited for the kids to arrive because she's a coward. She needed some kind of code in order to charge children with. Their whole focus was, how do we get these children? So then she got this person named Miss Hamlet to look up. They got a database. They look into this database and they can look at different laws that they can charge you with to lock you up. And they found criminal responsibility. That's not a law. It's not a charge. It's a theory. It's like, okay, this person might have been responsible for some kind of way this criminal doing this. Let's investigate. That's all criminal responsibility is. It's not a charge. It's not a law. But in Murfreesboro, Officer Templeton and Hamlet found it, gave it to Officer Templeton. Templeton talked to Judge Davenport and was like, look, I got a way we can get him. Now, Officer Duke, that works at the juvenile court system, she was like, I have a filter system. I have something set up so when y'all bring them to the juvenile court center, I got a way to get them in here, booked, to where we can get paid for it, hold them for a certain amount of time, past the time we're supposed to, and then we release them. They not only have a criminal record now, but now we're making money. So then Davenport is like, we got to get bigger. Now we got to commercialize so we can reach out to all these different counties and make more money. See that? This is diabolical, bro. This ain't nothing some little racist white women came up with. No, they tools, bro. They are tools from white supremacy. Like, this is what we need you to do. This woman failed the bar 5 times. You think that's not on record? They used her for a reason. They know she will be compliable to what we need her to do.
And like you were just saying, they use money as a motivation to push that law. Well, so-called law.
For
them, the money was the motivation. And that's what
money and power.
Yeah, and power.
Because these are white women.
Yeah.
They want some power too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Look, let me tell you, Davenport, the judge, she's a white woman. Officer Templeton, white woman. I'm not sure about Hamlet. I'm sure she is. Officer Duke, that came up with the filter system, white woman.
Yeah, but if I may say, these filter systems, they also hold them long enough because if CPS can step in. Because if these kids don't have proper parenting there, there's an investigation that goes on, then they're like, hey, hold on. Well, are they being properly took care of at home? Then that's longer time.
That's another angle.
Because most of these kids in Murfreesboro, they staying with grandparents, aunties, stuff like that. Because all my family out there.
Well, I mean, that damage comes from, buying the strong man.
Right.
So yeah, that's another angle I'm sure they make money off of. It's all set up. At the end of the day, white supremacy are setting up these systems to destroy us. That's the whole point. And this is one city. You understand? Go ahead. Keep reading. Was that I had you on no scripture, did it? Okay, go ahead. Keep going up. Templeton.
Crystal Templeton, the police officer investigating the video, wanted to arrest every kid who watched the fight and get them all in front of Davenport.
See that? That's Officer Templeton I just brought up. It just said, say that again. Say it loud, brother, so brothers can hear you. Everybody can hear you.
Crystal Templeton, the police officer investigating the video, wanted to arrest every kid who watched the fight and get them all in front of Davenport.
That tells you right there. They was directly aiming at every single kid that watched the fight so we can get them booked into the Justice Center and charged by Judge Davenport. These are children, man, for watching a fight. What could they possibly be charged with? Go ahead.
She would say later during an internal police investigation. charging them was helping them, Templeton believed, because juvenile court is about
Rehabilitation. Go ahead, say it.
rehabilitation.
Juvenile court is about rehabilitation. Charging them is helping them. That's real commercial to say. Go ahead.
But you're charging them and rehabilitating them for nothing.
But there is no rehabilitation. That's the point. There's no rehabilitation when you take a 10, 11, 12-year-old and put him in solitary for 10 days. And then he comes out, and this woman that's doing these interviews said while she's interviewing this brother, he can't even sit still. He's constantly tapping his phone. He's like, okay, I got to get up and move around a little bit. Because he got traumatized when he was a kid, man. Like, that's not no game. Like, when you being locked up as a child, you don't know why, and you get put in solitary confinement. And the reason why he got put there is because when he was in his cell, he was looking out his window. That's what the article said. I'm just not saying every single detail because this thing is long. But this brother was in a cell at 10, 12 years old, looking out the window of the cell. And the officer said, you need to go in solitary confinement. He goes in solitary confinement. And the officer, he said, and these are depositions. This is from this brother. The officer was walking back and forth in his solitary confinement, right? In the hole. He walking back and forth. And he looking in there, stand up. You can't sit down. Stand up. It's a child. For 10 days, that's hell, man.
Yeah.
That's hell. And to where it's affecting them to this day. He's like 17, 18 now. Go ahead.
They're gonna go to, and if I could, they're gonna grow up, and they're gonna be, wonder why they, like the sister was saying, they rehabilitating for them.
Exactly.
There's
no
rehabilitating for watching the fight.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Basically, they didn't do no more than go to do the same thing that niggas did this weekend.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Watching the Wild and what's the name fight. I mean,
it's nothing, man. Like and let me get y'all straight on that. There's no rehabilitation going on.
Right.
Like there's no help happening. Nobody's doing anything to help these brothers and sisters. All they doing is making money and traumatizing them for life. Okay. Go ahead, brother.
I'm gonna say it's like they robbing our children,
Mm-hmm.
traumatizing them at an early age.
Come.
So it's like they got this
Hey, Officer Parra. Wait for a second.
they got this
Wait
agenda
for a second.
where they're going after the kids
Mhm.
and the young. So as they get older, they'll be traumatized.
Keep going, brother.
They'll be traumatized. To
Con.
the point where they'll be
They gonna run from the police.
God.
They gonna fight them back. They gonna say I was scared. And to us, it's like, no, man, you just didn't comply. Like you should just listen to them. You didn't go through this when you was young. Go ahead.
It's like they put fear
Exactly.
in the children.
Right.
So when they get older, they can fear the police.
Exactly. That's a good point, brother. You're exactly right. Was that all you had?
Sure.
Go ahead, bro. It's what? Okay, no sweat. Come on, let's keep reading. Hold it up.
Templeton thought an appropriate charge might be conspiracy to commit assault. But then she met with Amy Anderson and Sherry Hamlet, two
Judiciary
commissioners authorized by Rutherford County
Mm-hmm.
to ensure arrest warrants. Anderson told Templeton that she thought the only child who could be charged with comprising was the kid who recorded the video of the fight on a cell phone. So they went in search of another charge, with Hamlet checking the state criminal code on a computer.
Now hold right there. Now this is Hamlet checking the criminal code on a computer because they said the only charge we could do was the person that took the video. They wanted more children. So then they hire Hamlet, they get Hamlet to look up a security code that they can use to make a charge for these children. Go ahead. You might have to come back here. You might have to come back here with. Go ahead, keep reading.
Templeton had joined the Murfreesboro Police Department in 1998 when she was 21. By the time of the arrest at Hobgood, she had been disciplined at least 37 times, including 9 suspicions.
Now look, this is Templeton. This is the one that came up with that law. She been what?
She's been disciplined at least 37 times.
She's been disciplined at least 37 times. I mean, this person has serious behavioral problem. Keep going.
She only left a loaded pistol on the seat of a patrol car.
She left a loaded pistol on the seat of a patrol car. Go ahead.
According to her personal file, during her pursuit, she failed to turn on her dash cam. Another time.
Look, she's the type of person, she gonna turn that dash cam off. Why?
Right.
Because she about to beat somebody the hell up or be part of it. Keep going.
Another time, she lost control of her patrol car and hit a Ford Explorer, which in turn hit a Nissan Pathfinder.
And
while Templeton's patrol unit spinning smacked a Toyota Sienna.
This fool got into a 3-car pileup because she can't drive. Go to the next. Keep going. Now, what I'm trying to show you is what kind of person Officer Templeton is that actually got the criminal responsibility as a law in Murfreesboro. Go ahead.
In all, 4 cars were damaged and 7 people injured, including Templeton.
Because she a fool. That's plain and simple. These are the people that have conspired against these children. Go ahead.
Inside the Judicial Commissioner's office, Hamlet discovered an alternative to conspiracy to commit assault. Her search turned up a Tennessee statute defending criminal responsibility for conduct of another.
So now this is where they found the code for criminal responsibility in their database. And this is what they use to charge these children with. Keep going now. We got a job to do. Keep reading.
It says in part, a person is criminally responsible for offense committed by offense or directs another to commit it, the officers, or fails to make a reasonable effort to prevent commission of the offense.
So now these children are being charged because they didn't do nothing about them little boys fighting. That's what that's basically saying. That's the charge on that. Keep going.
Hamlet shared her findings with Templeton. They worked through the statute line by line, which Anderson joined in. I looked up the charge to the best of my ability from my experience. Was like, yeah, that's the charge.
So basically they like, man, that sounds good. Let's use that as a charge. So this is how now they're using criminal responsibility to charge these children.
In the United States, it's typically the prosecutor's job to review a police investigation.
Now, this is important right here. It is the prosecutor's job to look at a case and make that judgment of that charge. The charge ain't supposed to just come from these people that have something already set up. The case is brought to the prosecutor, and the prosecutor looks at it and it's like, okay, these are the charges that we can use to charge them, or we can't charge them at all. Read it again.
It is typically the prosecutor's job to review a police investigation and decide what charges, if any, to file. But Tennessee allows counties to hire judicial commissioners to fill this role, from issuing warrants to setting bail to conducting probable causes hearings, Rutherford County Judicial Commissioners can take on the tasks that traditionally fall to judges or prosecutors without needing the legal training of either.
So what this saying is, they just throw prosecutors out the way, and they able to charge children by being commissioners, which is the Officer Templeton and Officer Hamlet. They can just charge them without even dealing with the prosecutor. What you got?
It says Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2, verse 10.
Somebody give me Wisdom of Solomon. Call it out again.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2, verse 10.
All right. Go ahead, brother.
This is the Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2, verse 10. I'll argue my God, got it. Let us oppress the poor, righteous man. Let us not spare the window, nor revenge. Nor reverence the ancient gray hairs of the age.
Read that again.
Come on, verse 10.
Hold on. You need to get that, sis?
It's in, I'm sorry, I thought it was about Wisdom of Solomon's in the Apocrypha.
Come.
I'm Salaki. Okay, I'm here.
You there?
Salaki, I'm sorry.
Call it out again, brother.
This is the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2, verse 10.
Mm-hmm.
Let us oppress the poor righteous man. Let us not spare the window, nor reverence the ancient gray hairs of the age.
So it doesn't matter how old they are. We're going to oppress these people. That's what that scripture is talking about. You don't have to be an old man that's of age for your oppressor to deal with you. Not in this kingdom. That justice is only going to be for them, not for us. There will be no justice for us. That's what that scripture is talking about under this kingdom. Keep going, brother. No, you got more? Oh, go ahead, slide.
Verse 11.
Mm-hmm.
Let our strength be the law of justice, for that which is feeble is found to be nothing worth.
Now, see, that's for the oppressor. This is his justice that's going to make him strong. This justice does nothing for us. Our justice comes from these laws, the law of the Bible. Keep reading, young man.
Hamlet came up with the criminal responsibility for conduct of another as a possible charge. There was a problem. It's not an actual charge.
Uh-oh. Say that again.
It's not an actual charge.
It's what?
It's not an actual charge.
Here's the problem. Keep reading.
There is no such crime. It is rather a basis upon which somebody can be accused of a crime.
See, this is a theory. This is not an actual crime. It's not a charge. It just said that. Keep reading.
For example, a person who caused someone else to commit robbery.
Hey, Officer Hakula, give me a check on 930. Go ahead.
For example, a person who caused someone else to commit robbery will be charged with robbery, not with criminal responsibility.
Exactly. So whatever you're being charged with, that's what you did. You don't get charged with something that somebody suspects you of. That's why it's not a criminal charge. It's not an actual charge. It's not a law, because it's just a theory for somebody to think, okay, now criminal responsibility. Did they have anything to do with this? Let's investigate this. You can't charge them with it. You don't have anything to charge them. They ain't broke nothing. But it's something for you to investigate. That's all they're saying. Keep going.
But in the judicial commissioner's office that Friday afternoon, 10 petitions were issued, each charging a child with criminal responsibility. The petition didn't distinguish the kid's actions. The document were cookie cutter, saying each child encouraged and caused to other juveniles to commit an assault.
So basically, that's what they use to charge these children with. All right. And that's describing the law, how it got found, not the law, but the criminal responsibility, how they came up with it with Officer Templeton and who was that? In Hamlet. That's how they discovered this, and that's the part of their system that they use to handcuff children and put them in the system in the juvenile justice center. Go ahead.
In 2003, Rutherford County hired a consulting firm to help design a new detention center.
So now they're getting so many children in this juvenile justice center that they need to get bigger. So they hired a contractor to build them a new facility. Go ahead.
The next year, the firm produced a lengthy report alerting Rutherford County that it was locking up kids at an expectantly high rate. Jailing children should be the last number of options, the firm wrote.
Now, this firm basically said that, like, y'all are locking up these children at a very high rate. Like, this is kind of like against what y'all supposed to be doing. So it alerted this firm. Go ahead.
Less restrictive alternatives not only save money, they're more effective in reducing recidivism, making them better for children and the community.
Keep going.
Scale down, the report recommended. Build a 35-bed juvenile detention center with the room to add on later. Also build shelter care, 10 beds in residential settling for runaways or other kids who pose no real threat for public safety.
So now the firm is suggesting what they should build. Now this is what they actually did. Go ahead. They was thinking something smaller than what Judge Davenport had wanted.
In 2005, Rutherford County dropped the consulting firm and rejected its advice.
They did what?
And
Read from the top. They did what?
Rutherford County dropped the consulting firm and rejected its advice.
So they rejected the advice of the firm to build something smaller, and they fired them. This is what they end up doing. Go ahead.
So this has been going on for a while.
Yes, sir. This was a well-devised plan since what? It's like 2005.
Now, actually, they fired him in 2005. So they thought they needed a bigger facility.
Right.
So that means they've been doing this for like since 2000.
Right. I see what you're saying. That's right. Yeah.
So it's been going on
for a long time. Right. Almost
they
20.
got caught up in 2016.
Right, because the parents got fed up, got a hold of the right people. The Publica, something Publica, got involved, started researching, doing their investigation, looking at depositions and all this, and then they brought it to the forefront, and it got some publicity. So that's why we know about it right now. Because I mean, it got exposed in 2016. It's 2021.
Right.
So that means it's been going on for 20 years, and they've been trying to get bigger. So now they hired their first consulting firm. They fired them. Now what happened, brother? Keep reading.
The county opted for a 64-bed detention center.
Slow down. They opted for a what?
They opted for a 64-bed.
A 64-bed. The firm said 34. They're like, no, we need more. 64-bed. Keep going.
Detention center with no shelter care.
With no shelter care. We don't want to have shelter for them. The first firm said we need to have a certain part for the shelter for the children. They're like, nah, we don't need all that. We need as many beds as we can get so we can make as much money as we can to get as many of them in here. These are children. We're not talking about regular inmates. Like we usually talk about the incarceration system. These are children. Go ahead.
When you was just reading it, that shelter care was saying for like runaway kids. They're like, man, we don't care about the kids who run away. We only want the ones who we can
make money off of.
Basically.
Right. Exactly. You ain't gonna make no money off no runaways. because you're just helping them have shelter. You got to give them, you have to try to give them counseling, and it's a lot more care involved. They don't care about that. They care about their money. Let's go.
The center attached to new courtrooms for Davenport and her magistrate
Mhm.
opened in 2008. The complex cost, coupled with that of a nearby correctional work center for adults, was $23 million.
Yeah, $23 million is what that complex costs. $23 million. So they did build it. They did get it. Go ahead.
Duke and Davenport have gushed about their new workplace, a dream come true, Davenport called it. They offer public tours. You'll see booking, bring your family, have a little piece of cake, Davenport told radio listeners in the 2015 segment.
Now listen.
I have some cake.
Come. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have a part 2 to this because we still got something to cover through here. So what that's getting into, we starting to get into Judge Davenport and Officer Duke. Officer Duke is involved in this because she's the one that came up with the filtering program. Was like, we need more space. This thing is working. We need more space. And right there, they said they're making fun of it. They're like, yeah, bring your children and have some cake.
They'll be here soon.
That's evil, man. That's so wicked. But I'm gonna get into the second. I'm gonna have a part 2 for this because it's kind of long, so I don't want to hold y'all up too much longer. We'll just play the videos next week. We'll have a part 2 to this and break down the rest. All right. With that, I pass the class off to Officer Hakulai. And you put them in there, folks. You don't have to wear that, right? You want to cock it to the side. Like cock it to the side. If you're going to wear it, yeah. That's how you right.
How about you stand up on the...
Yeah, you come up here. Is it better? Sam, sit right here.
Yes.
This is the I.S.U.P.K security announcements. We are the I.S.U.P.K, started on 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brother and sister. When a brother and sister comes into school, they're off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to share themselves to the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister is interested in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months where the brother and sister will court each other. After the 6 month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. You can find the book of Numbers, chapter 18, verse 21, and the book of Malachi, chapter 3, verse 8 through 10. It means 10th in the Hebrew, I.S.U.P.K. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you. Give it to the treasury department of teacher. Priest fund. Free will office for priests. Not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming holy convocation. The feast of dedication.
Close that door for him.
The feast of dedication. The 25th day of the 9th month. What that say right there? Space of 8 days. Sunday, November 28th for 8 days. You can find the book of First Maccabees 4 and 52 through 61. If anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, start wearing all black. Boots, shirt, pants, headband, and scarf. And with that, Imagine. All men of Israel, we won't get one courteous salute.